Okay, sitting here with Dad. Been a little while, so now we're into the years of 1989 and 1990, both with the Baron and the Grumman. So what do you got for us?
Well, going back 30 years, the memory starts to fade a little bit, but we were flying mostly the Baron for the next 6-7 months, and I do recall that we got the DME fixed on it, and we flew a lot of IFR with that. It was a great IFR airplane that the Baron was. Had to do the biannual medical and passed that one. That was good back in those days. Changed the oil and did all that. Then the next we had a trip down to Los Angeles on business. Me and a guy named Bob Buell working as my quality control guy, and we flew down to Santa Monica and parked the Baron down there while we did our business, and then came back to pick up the Baron to head back to home. And it turned out that we were parked in a part of the airport where the burglars got in there, and they broke open my compartment, in the baggage compartment in the nose, and busted the two latches. So I had to get the old duct tape out and tape those babies down, and they did steal out my portable radio out of there. Don't park in LA and be careful. In any case, we got it taped down pretty good and took off and ended up coming back into to the Seattle area, IFR, and made a nice approach from Bluff in Northern California into Seattle area. That was kind of fun. And I had to get the thing fixed. Cost me $400 to get new latches and all that, but that's the way it is. And so we moved on down and went up to a place called north of Yakima called Priest Lake, and it's a grass strip, and we used to spend a couple of days with friends in cabins up on Priest Lake, and it's about a 3,000-foot grass strip, and handles the airplane well, and never had a problem with the burglars there. So
now, was that just grass only, or was there gravel on it, or was
no,
it
just grass. That's it. It was very open, no trees at the end, pretty easy, and it's still there to this day. And a lot of people fly in there and have little air shows and stuff. Our next major trip then was to Oshkosh, and we went to Manitowoc, and had to stop a little bit early to get gas because it had some headwinds. And then from there on, we went into Oshkosh for the week, and then back out, went to Manitowoc again. On the way back, that's in Wisconsin. So
Mom was with you that time, right?
Yeah.
And you guys slept, or she slept in the airplane or something?
Yeah, that was I think our second time to Oshkosh, and she slept in the airplane, and turned out it broke the rear seat, putting it all the way down and making a bed out of it, and that cost me a lot of money to fix that. But
and that was the last time you took her with you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Not only that, but it was kind of a rough ride. I got a picture of her, and I think you've seen it before, grabbing the back seat, the white knuckle thing. Yeah. And doing an instrument approach back into Seattle. So then we go on down, and that's when I found out about the problem with the Barons, that if you have a single engine stall at high altitude or something, it can go into a spin, and it's not recoverable. And I found that out from an instructor in Hillsboro who that happened at 10,000 feet, and it could not recover it, even though he had both engines going, would not recover, and down it went and killed both people. So the next, soon after that, I had the Vortex generators installed and put it in all my airplanes after that. But in the Baron, I took it up, and it slowed the stall speed by 9 knots. So those things are really worth the money. And from then on, I never went up and practiced single engine issues and gotten close to stall, not with the Baron anyway. And so that was really a good installation. And then so we flew around the area all that time. Flew to Arlington for the flight show, Friday Harbor, Eugene, and all that on business in a lot of cases. And then ultimately came down and installed what I thought at the time a Loran and a 5,000
Yeah, the Argus.
Argus 5000, which was kind of a green screen thing that would show the outlines of the air districts and flight plans and stuff like that. And I thought, man, the only problem with the Argus was it took it probably 20 to 30 minutes to find its location. It was slow working. It comes out of the marine area, and but it was really an advance at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't a GPS yet, but it was the first kind of a moving map.
Yeah, first kind of moving map, and boy, I thought that was great, and it really helps you stay on track. And so then I'm just trying to look at some of the stuff. We went down into Cobra. At this time, I decided I had been flying the Baron pretty steady, and I had this Grumman sitting in the hangar, my A1AA Grumman TR2. And hadn't had an annual for 5 years or 4 or 5 years, so I thought, well, we better go fly the thing. So I did, and flew the Grumman off and on for most of the rest of the year, along with kind of local. And I was just mentioning the Grumman. We were taking a local flight one time and pulled the mixture out instead of the throttle on the landing, and makes it get real quiet when you do that. Got the throttle back in, and you start right up. It was a great flying airplane. And then our next major trip in the Baron was, to Estacada, Oregon, and then into Napa, California, again on another business trip. And then we flew back from Napa to Crest, and then on into Friday Harbor and Sun River and all that. And the nice thing about the Baron was it really was good in turbulent weather, pretty easy to control and all that. And one time coming up from Las Vegas, it was in heavy thunderstorms. We were flying from Tucson, and we were cleared for 10,000 feet, but we were getting blown up to 15,000 feet because of the huge updrafts. And I talked to air traffic control, and they said, don't worry about it, everybody else is going up and down with you. And my poor wife was in there counting her beads, thinking she was going to die any minute. And the rain was coming down so thick in those thunderstorms, it sounded like you were underwater at times, just a horrible noise. But we made it through. And then to Reno, and it was cleared up from the rest of the way, so that was good. Had a bunch of people come up from South Africa. We had a manufacturing plant down there. And it took them up to Le Conner and all that. Flying around, and it's interesting in the sense that I also got a chance to fly in an airplane in South Africa, the 182, but that's another story. Then we went to St. Helens, and then my final flight for 1990 was the Grumman, and that's the time when I lost the power when I pulled the mixture control out and not the throttle on the landing approach. Do you have any other questions if I missed anything here?
Well, what was the deal with the you had an exhaust part of the exhaust break off on the Baron?
Oh yeah, that was on a flight. I think it was in California someplace, and I can't remember exactly what it was. It was probably on the lower part of the exhaust where it hooks into the exhaust that goes out to the bottom of the airplane. The engine area had cracked, and so I just put around a temporary clamp around it and got home with it, and then had to replace the lower portion of the exhaust system on that one. And but that wasn't that big a deal. It just it's a little bit of a fire hazard if you're not careful.
How did you happen to catch that? Or you probably don't even remember.
No, I don't remember. Other than the fact that the noise changed on the exhaust system when your engine started up, so it was barking, and versus a different sound. So that's what triggered me to look into it on that. But it wasn't a big problem.
And that was fuel injected IO470s
Yes.
in the B55.
Yeah, the IO470 is the greatest engine Continental ever built. We had 470s in the old 310, and they were carbureted, and then the injected ones in the Baron, and they were 270 horsepower, really nice.
60.
260s, yeah. And you got better memory than I do. So, yeah, I think I got it covered now.
All right, well, thanks, Dad. We'll come back and we kind of do these in 2-year segments just simply because there's a lot going on. But
yeah.
All right, gang.